El Carnitrix is one of the best dimensional Omnitrixes we've been able to observe, featuring a sinister plot full of terror and suffering for the protagonist. The lore is unmatched since everything that happens in this dimension is extremely twisted. The creator, Cannibal099, has given the Benten Saga a dark twist that leaves you intrigued, wanting to know more and more. Finally, the day has come when I'll tell you the full story of the Carnitrix, so I'll shut up for a month and let's get started. This is the universe of the Carnitrix, a universe where the smartest being in the galaxy has become a genocidal maniac. And let me tell you, this Asmode was different. He had total contempt for any race that wasn't his own. The Galvan had a problem, a great loss. It was driving him insane. His companions knew it, but they didn't stop him because they thought he would get better. Big mistake. Asmode started working on the Carnitrix, an artifact that was said to have the power to enslave any alien race. The universe was in this dimension. Vilgax and Tetrax maintained order, so when they learned about Asmode's plan, they chose to stop him. Unfortunately, it was too late. Arriving at the lab, they found only Galvan's body and a message: "If I don't cause pain and agony, someone else will." The situation was getting worse by the minute since they couldn't find the device. Galvan's main wish was to inflict maximum harm on the universe. But since he failed, he sent a Carnitrix to a primitive planet, believing its weak race would fall to its power. Earth was the destination that Asmode had envisioned a long time ago. To our regret, the chosen one was a young man, Ben Tennyson, who, just like in the original series, would encounter the meteorite that would lead him to begin living a nightmare. Let me explain. In this universe, the Omnitrix wasn't an artifact that transformed Ben into aliens with epic powers. Or well, not exactly like that. The Omnitrix let him transform into aliens, but at a great cost. The Carnitrix gave him a grotesque and monstrous version of the alien, which he couldn't control. Ben was submerged in an empty shell, while the aliens were controlled by their darkest instincts. I repeat, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Ben, as he approached the meteorite, would come across this device, which would quickly jump onto Ben's arm, and thanks to its tentacles, it would manage to capture the user. Gwen noticed what was happening with Ben, but instead of helping, she triggered his first transformation into Heat Blast. The device was fulfilling its function of eliminating every living being. Gwen would be burned alive at the hands of this alien. Now, upon detecting another presence, the device would go after its second victim, Grandpa Max, who would be torn apart at the hands of XLR8. The situation was getting out of control. Ben couldn't do anything. He could only watch as his aliens destroyed everyone who crossed their path. Ben tried to stay hidden in the woods, thus avoiding any human contact. But the massacre he had caused had caught the attention of the armed forces. A pretty big target that put Ben in a tough spot. Through tears, he knew that the worst was now coming. A celestial alien wiped out an army in seconds. It should be mentioned that Belicus and Serena were not present, beings who are usually there to control the power of this alien who is literally a god. Now, with so much power, Asmode's dream would finally come true. The Celestial would destroy Earth and the universe, causing maximum suffering. You might think destroying the universe would satisfy the Celestial's thirst for destruction, but that's not true. The Celestial traveled to another dimension to destroy a new universe. Ben, still trapped inside, watched helplessly as evil triumphed. Luckily for this universe, a time traveler named Paradox had an army ready to try to stop him. Why now and not before? In the previous universe, Paradox didn't exist. A rumor spread that an omnipotent being was interfering, erasing universes. As the battle reached its climax, it featured the best warriors. But having so many Bens who tend to underestimate the enemy, and having a being with a fixed purpose, resulted in complete elimination. The heavy cavalry finally had to appear to fix the situation. Asmode, together with Ben 10,000, would have the mission to end this. A recharged Atomex would be the right alien to weaken the Celestial so much that he would end up losing the transformation. Defeated and ready to be eliminated, Asmode would approach him to give him a little advice. Even after loss, a hero can gain much more. Ben 10,000's Alien X would recreate the Carnitrix universe, making it seem as if nothing had changed except Ben, who lost his family and more. Ben had endured a tormented life, if it could even be called living. His actions with the Carnitrix haunted him, they wouldn't let him exist. He anxiously awaited the moment when Paradox would return to his universe to check if the situation was alright. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Ben lived tormented, and for a long time he knew what he had to do. He asked Paradox for 2 favors. First, to take him to when he found the Omnitrix and stop it from happening, realizing that doing so would erase him from existence. Ben was willing to pay a high price. Paradox would assist. Ben would frighten his younger self, causing himself to slowly vanish. Mentioning the second favor, tell Asmode that I really tried to follow his advice. And even though this is the end for this Ben, since he never found the Carnitrix, we never knew who actually found it, since the Carnitrix patiently waited for its next user. Now, based a little on the aliens that the Carnitrix has given us, there are forms that are worth highlighting for their design and even for their power level, since we could see that the original aliens, without any kind of restriction, are capable of a lot. Let me remind you that most are altered forms, like the Antitrix or even the Omnitrix from a Ben we met long ago in the Ben 10 Omniverse Saga. Benzaro, I'll start by talking about 4 arms, an alien shown in 3 forms. In the Carnitrix, he started out with a spectacular design based on this type of demon. His unnatural, grotesque first form made him one of the Carnitrix's weakest aliens. Now, looking at Cannibal's updates, he has shown us the new version of 4 arms. He has returned the muscles to the alien who used to show them off. Nothing is ever perfect. His arms are now torn from the Carnitrix-induced malformation. The Benzaro version was similar. This Tetraman was incomplete due to malformations, as his upper limbs didn't match his body. He didn't have one. Phantasmatico also got a redesign showing the bloodiest version without arms. Well, not where they should be. His tentacles became his arms, a better fit for this universe. Almost to finish, I'd like to show you 2 designs that I really liked, Swampfire and Mummy. One is based on a pretty terrifying wheat and the other just blows your mind. The skeleton gives it a special touch since it could be Ben's own skeleton. We could do a full comparison of these aliens if you guys like the idea. Should I keep bringing more Omnitrix? That depends on you, but I doubt there's enough for a video. For a top list, of course, they would be epic. So, if you know any Omnitrix and universe, please put your top picks in the comment box. I want to send a special greeting to those who support the channel and will soon see the Luffy vs Kaido battle. At least the first part, since I can't expect much from the graphics card due to its VRAM issue. So well, without much more to say, I'm Frio and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, my baby fell asleep.